Okay, everybody, we are live. This is Arsenal Fan Circle, and the Sunday show is back. The big Sunday show is back, and it's been a huge, huge win today for Arsenal. Make no mistake about this. Traditionally, it's been a very difficult place for Arsenal to go and win. Um, did we ride our luck a lot today? We probably did. We limped into the defense quite a bit. We relied upon what is possibly the best defensive partnership in the Premier League. Our Liverpool fans will um, contest that with Van Dijk and Konate. And welcome, Canterbury Gunner. You are the first one from season 8 on this Sunday show to be here with me today. So hopefully, Tony, Alonso, Gary or Stan might pop in for a little bit. It's going to be a quick show. It is the summertime, and do try to enjoy what's left of the summer, everybody, for you. But really, tell me what you thought about this game um, up at Old Trafford. As you will know, traditionally, it's been difficult for Arsenal in the last 2 decades to get a win. I think it was something like 18 attempts without a win up at Old Trafford. Only once in 18 years. We did win the season we had the run in. We did win at Old Trafford through a Leandro Trossard goal in the run in. 2 seasons ago when we ran Manchester City all the way to 2 points from the league. So this may augur well for the rest of our season. Yes, Michael, thanks for joining us as well. Very stressful watch. Um, I particularly was pacing. Couple of challenges in the box. Again, I thought the referee was pretty good, Mike Cooper. Um, when it's one of these, I call a mid-tier referee, or one of those referees who used to take the lesser games to overcome the Anthony Taylors and the Michael whoever. I've forgotten the names, but I'll remember their names. Michael Oliver. These are the two referees that are playing to the audience, if you like. Um, and they have been. So Mike Cooper uh, refereed sensibly. Of course, I'm going to say that we got out with a 1-0 win. We got away with the 3 points, and it's a huge, huge win in light of Manchester City's facile win over Wolverhampton Wanderers yesterday, and of course Liverpool's emotional, emotional win on Friday after the loss of Diogo Jota, and I'm sure Liverpool fans, um, it was good for them to have an outpouring of emotions. Liverpool, they're going to have to go through a full season carrying that emotion. But it's going to be a very, very interesting Premier League season ahead of us. Mikel Arteta has said he sees it being very tight. I see a three-horse race here. I don't see, um, I don't see the likes of Chelsea, Newcastle, Aston Villa, or any of the other teams edging into this. Man City have bought well. They brought in some good players, and Erling Haaland, when he has a bad season, he's going to score 20 plus Premier League goals. Um, and we know what Mo Salah is going to do. Ekitike seems like a decent player as well. My hope is that Alexander Isak stays at Newcastle, and I hope that a big team actually, or some owners actually take a stand in this situation with Isak. He's not done it the right way, as Stan had said earlier. Um, so, anyway, getting into this Arsenal game, I wanted to first of all dedicate this win to Mahir, who has been with the channel for many, many years. And I actually don't know, haven't had any updates on him, but I haven't obviously heard from him in a few seasons. So you do often fear the worst when you don't hear from people. But dedicate this to Mahir. I know when you are living in North London and you live amongst the Tottenham fans and you work alongside the Tottenham fans, that you're always going to feel that they are your rivals. But for me, many years, over 20 years or 30 years of following Arsenal, um, it started with a Liverpool rivalry in '89 and '91, and then it continued through the mid '90s when Manchester United were the team to beat, and Arsenal had such a fantastic rivalry with Manchester United. Arsene Wenger had a fantastic rivalry with Alex Ferguson until they became friends in the 2010 season onwards. They had an admiration for each other, let's say that much. But it was a ferocious rivalry between Arsenal and Manchester United. We've so throw in your comments, your questions to me. This could be a solo show with just me, which sometimes it's a good thing that I get to talk and express my thoughts about Arsenal as well. As the host, you don't often have that opportunity. You're trying to create a conversation where others are are bringing their viewpoints. You don't often bring your own viewpoints. So, yeah, Reddy said, very stressful watch, Michael. Yeah, not our best, but would always welcome an ugly away win at Old Trafford on the opening day. I remember, I think it was Michael Kenton or something. It was a new ownership of Manchester United way back in the 80s. This is the 80s. When they had new ownership, and it was an opening day, Arsenal at Old Trafford. They beat us 4-1 on the day. So it's always very difficult. Wherever you go in the Premier League, it's always very difficult because the team is opening up their season in front of their home fans, and it's a very difficult. Um, Winning away in the Premier League is very difficult. So winning at Old Trafford, winning at a traditional top six team, it remains to be seen where Manchester United will end up this season in their league form. But you would imagine they would be in the top half of the table with the players that they have bought. Not at our best, but would always welcome an ugly win at Old Trafford on opening day, indeed. And it was nice to get the benefit, if there was any benefit in the goal. It was nice to get that from Mike Cooper as well. You all Now when goals are scored, I'm feeling like there's going to be a check of some sort. There was a couple of challenges in the box with Cunha. I'm feeling there was some sort of a possibility as well, but Arsenal defended well in on the whole. This was our fourth win there in the last 20 years, and all of them have been 1-0. Yeah. So have they've been few and far between, ready, and it's been last season at Old Trafford. Very difficult game when we were suffering a lot of injuries. And you look at the subs bench as well. You look at the subs bench as well. Welcome, Stan. Welcome, Stan, to the stage. Thanks for joining me, Stan.
Good morning.
Morning over there in the West Coast, right? West Coast of Canada. Yeah. All right. So thanks for joining me. I'm going to make it a nice, quick, snappy episode today, Stan. But your thoughts on today's win? I mean, I'm just saying with Brady and Michael here, a very welcome 1-0 win. We probably leaned into our defenders a little bit in this display. But give me your thoughts before I say too much.
Well, for the opening game of the season, it's always nice to get a win under your belt and to walk away from Old Trafford with all 3 points. But performance-wise, I'm looking for improvement as the season goes on from what I saw today. To be fair, I think if you look at the eye test, I think Man United actually had a better game, even though they didn't win. And I think the man of the match for our team was our goalkeeper.
David Raya.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which I think kind of tells you everything that you need to know when you're looking at your goalkeeper to be the man of the match. But we managed to get ourselves out of jail with a very important set piece.
yeah. We'll be called Set Piece FC for a little bit more, but I'm not minding that as long as we win games. Let's talk about the goal then. Declan Rice with the corner, very well placed. Saliba's making a nuisance out of himself with the goalkeeper, and Calafiori is there to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, I think if you're the Manchester United goalkeeper in a situation like that, you've either got to punch the ball away, and if you can't do that, you've got to go down onto the ground. And he did neither of those, which allowed for a bit of a fumble, and it let Calafiori come in at the sort of like at the back door to nod one in.
Yeah, yeah. Make it obvious, right? Make it clear that you're being impeded.
Yeah,
Um, and there's something about Calafiori. I mean, you and I very much enjoyed Calafiori's goal. There's something about Calafiori's goals in Manchester. So last season we really enjoyed the golf wedge from Calafiori up at the Etihad against Manchester City. He turns up today with a valuable goal.
yeah. I think I heard something about that in his younger years. He used to play as a forward, or to play as a striker. So he has a knack, or he has an eye for goal, which is always going to be very important. My biggest hope with Calafiori as the season goes on is that he doesn't sort of take up Tomiyasu's place on the treatment table every week, and that we're able to get more goals out of him because he's a very valuable player.
Uh,
And
yeah,
he's good at driving the play forward, and he knows where the back of the net is. But if he can't be available, then that's no good. So, you know, I don't know if that was a precaution taking him off and changing the fullbacks, or whether it was more of a tactical thing. But very
yeah.
very important goal.
So you mentioned the fact that we were a little bit rusty today, and that's true. I've said this last season and probably in previous seasons, and I definitely believe it this season as well. There's not many games for club sides now to get up to speed in preseason. There's not many minutes for all of the players, and maybe Calafiori was a bit short on fitness, and that was the reason why he came off. But that's maybe a reason why we weren't at 100% either, Stan.
Yeah, but I look at other teams that have started the season as well, and have also had the same amount of time having a pre-season. And there's a lot of other teams out there that look a little bit better prepared than us.
That's fair. That's fair.
And
Um,
we've all had the same amount of preparation time. I mean, you only have to look at Sunderland as an example.
yeah,
That a team that's come up and they looked more than ready for the beginning of the season. So
yeah.
if we are a
Against
little,
West Ham.
if we are
Right.
a little bit rusty, then that's on us.
So yeah, maybe you're talking about the treatment table for Calafiori. Let's play him while he's fit. Maybe might be the play here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's got to be managed with kid gloves, I think, a player like Calafiori,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he does. He, from what I've seen of him, it doesn't take much for him to be out.
No. Brady said Simon Hooper was all right today. I thought the referee had a good game. Didn't try and make it all about himself, as other refs do at Old Trafford.
Well, there's this rule, isn't there? This new 8-second rule for goalkeepers. That's a little bit. I don't know how that's going to work. What are players supposed to do? Not try and press the goalkeeper now.
Yeah, yeah. Welcome, Alonso, to the show. Mid swig.
How's it going, guys?
Good, good. We're enjoying. Hey, listen, you got to enjoy your 3 points each and every time you get them. Brady said, creativity-wise, we are nowhere near where we should be. Mikhail has work to do, and some eyebrows were raised about even Martinelli playing on the left. So, but until we have better, until we maybe get a Rodrigo, dare I say it, um, Martinelli might be favored. Alonso, what do you think about that?
Yeah, like today I saw Martinelli. He, I tried watching the game best I could because I was with my friends, but I thought that he was lost. I thought that he was really, really the same old things he did last year, which is he would dribble, and go nowhere with it. And that kind of hurt Eucharist, in my opinion, because he needs service, right? So I don't know what's going on with him, but he seems like lost, and he's trying to do too much into little space, and kind of ruined his, I think, confidence going forward. But I think he was more playing defensively, more so than he was playing offensively. I think which kind of slowed the tempo of the game of the match. Um, but I didn't really see nothing in him that desire. So it kind of was like weirdly watching. Seems like he was running out of gas a lot of the time. I think the whole team was actually. So I don't know what happened, but it's the first game of the season. It's at Old Trafford, but I think they're a little bit timid. I think there's a lot of people who not knowing their positions. The positioning was kind of weird today too, but I think we have a lot of players playing that aren't used to playing with Arsenal. Like Juvendi, like Eucharist, it caused kind of like, I guess, they're not their pace set, I guess, on the team. And I think Martinelli kind of needs to get used to playing with Juvendi and Eucharist. I think the whole team does. But yeah, his team kind of lost today.
Stan, what do you think of our left side? As Alonso said, Martinelli, same old Martinelli, right? Combining with Calafiori.
I think that one of the things that's going to give Martinelli more minutes on the pitch is I think Mikel Arteta likes the way that he does help out so much when in the defensive part of his game. There were parts of the time when you look at his positioning, you think that you think that he was actually a left back or a left wing back, so to speak. But it's all well and good being able to help out defensively, but his main job is really to be more creative. And Madueke came on that left side, and there was really no uptick. There was no. It didn't seem to increase the performance on that left side, and for Gyökeres as well. The clips that I've watched of him before he came to Arsenal, he used to appear on the left hand side quite a lot, whereas today I noticed him more on the right hand side. So yeah. I'd like him to try and be more central rather than trying to take up wide spaces in the channels on the wide areas and be more central. But I mean, it's his first game. Zubimendi as well. I mean, he was basically a passenger in the game today. I felt. So it's all right. It's all well and good saying, well, it's the first game, and they're still sort of like getting to know each other. But you can say that about the majority of the teams out there, and there's a lot of other teams out there that have started the season much better and looked ready, and we still don't. I think we're very lucky today that we're so good at set pieces that it can bail us out sometimes, get us out of jail.
Yeah, as Brady said, Mikel had full preseason sort out the left side, and Stan said other teams have had the same amount of time. Welcome, Gary, to the show. Gary, thanks for being here. Your initial thoughts, Gary. Go ahead.
Woo.
One of those,
yes,
huh?
They're definitely one of those. Sweat off the brow. Yeah. We didn't look good today. Whatever we were supposed to work on from last year, I don't think we worked on much because it didn't look like it to me. So I think we still got a lot of work to do. I mean, we'll take the win, right? But I just we got kind of lucky that their shooting was off. I don't feel like our shooting was we even got to test it much today. But they got a lot of opportunities to score on us, and we're lucky they just couldn't put it home. So everything today was just off. The back line, midfield, front line was off. It was just off, and I think that's going to build with each game we play. Didn't really like the substitutions, the way they worked out. Some of it might have been fatigue and stuff while we made some of the moves we did, but in general, I was asking, did a watch line. I'm like, what did we do today that we can build on? Like, what part of the game did I look at, or did anybody look at and go, all right, yeah, we can work on that. Like that was good, and we just need to build around it. Like I don't know what we got, what you can look at today and go, yeah, that that is something that we can take into the next game. Meanwhile, build on the things we didn't do so good on. I don't think I saw much of that. Um,
I
Nobody looked
feel
really good
like
today.
we tried to find Gyökeres with some longer balls as well from midfield.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
he's up there by himself, and you're like, he
yeah,
needs like where is Martinelli when he's getting the ball and he's coming up the where's Saka when he's getting the ball at that point? Like somebody's got to be there.
there
Your
was a
strikers your strikers getting the ball, and he's got two defenders on him, and there's nobody there. Like
yeah. Delict was quite physical with him, so that's something that Gyökeres. He's probably seen it in Champions League against Arsenal last season and against Man City last season. So he's going to have to overcome the Premier League physical part of the game as well. There was a couple of combinations down the left with Gyökeres, Calafiori, um, and Martinelli almost came off. So it was a couple of things almost came off for us in this game. Uh, but really said Raya and the centre backs were a rock today, bailed us out. We can't say that another 37 times this season, or we'll be struggling. And I think Roy Keane said, "Go and get the second. If you're a good team, you go and get the second goal. Go and get the third goal, even if it's at Old Trafford, and put the game beyond doubt." You know, Odegaard was much better today. Big season for him, says Riddy. So um, we seem to run out of ideas once we get to the edge of the box. How many times we saw that last season? Yeah, it's unconvincing. Probably is the big word from this game is unconvincing. But I don't want to say it because it undermines it, right? And unconvincing, but we got out of there with 3 points. You know, um, next game against Leeds, we'll have to fine tune a few things, and then up at Anfield again. We go north to Anfield before the first international break um, of the season. So, um, what I still feel who wants to jump in on anything I said or bring a new point. Uh, I still feel the rival fans will be tweaked a little bit by this because Alonso, our rival fans, Manchester City, Liverpool fans, see Arsenal as rivals. They would have looked at this as an opportunity for Arsenal to drop points and the pressure. You know what it's like with this fan base now. The pressure would be on Arteta and the team.
Yeah, I work at Euro fans of rival clubs, and the banter between us is pretty funny. And so two guys, one guy, he's a Liverpool supporter, and he'll say, "Well, you really got away with that one," or he'll say, "Well, Arsenal's gonna lose at Old Trafford because they're not good enough, right?"
Yeah,
But yeah, I can't wait to go out tomorrow to give it to them. But yeah, being said, I think that rival fans will say, "Well, we finished second and we had no trophies to back that up, right?" And Arteta is not a good manager; he's not good enough, etc., etc., etc. But I think we all mentioned before how consistent Arsenal have been finishing second 3 years in a row, and you can think that as a positive and or negative. So this year will be very telling on what Arsenal do as far as the league's concerned. And at some point, we got to get the banter off of us and actually win trophies or do well in Champions League to win a trophy there in FA Cup. But I think that Arteta has to do something big this year. And what I mean by Arteta, I mean Arsenal, because he's not at this alone, right? He coaches his team, but it's also up to the players to know their roles and to do well with that role that they're given. Um, but yeah, I think that today, they'll say, well, you guys aren't good enough. You guys really beat United, or United got more shots off. But I had a lot of saves. The center backs did well today. They played great. But we haven't, where was our attack at when we needed it? So, I think they'll dwell on the negatives as such
Yeah.
as most of our fan base will, and not take this as a positive. And Old Trafford is a tough place to win at, and we got to go from there. And take the baby steps as we progress, because the start of the season is not easy.
No.
So yeah.
Yeah, how important is that, Stan? The start of the season is not easy, but to get 3 points coming out of the gate away from home, a difficult traditional rival. I think Riddy has said we've only won 3 times in 20 years, something like that, or fourth win in the last 20 years. Um, how important is it to do that, to get that 3 points, considering we have more difficult challenges coming in the first 6 games?
Oh, it's immensely important, isn't it, to get 3 points on the board in your first game? But I think the 3 points does mask the poor performance. Saka is supposed to be our best player. I thought he was totally off of it today, and I think in situations like that, you shouldn't be afraid as the manager to remove that player, no matter what his status is in the team, because it sends a message out to everybody in the team.
Yeah.
If you're not on it, then you'll be taken out, and somebody else will be given an opportunity. And I think that could have happened today, and maybe shouldn't have happened today. That getting on for like 60 minutes or so, maybe Saka should have come off, and someone else should have been given a chance.
Yeah, particularly if it's Madueke that's going to come on that right side. And, Jokeres is new to all of these players, so he's going to develop relationships with the likes of Marinelli, with the likes of Odegaard, Waneri, even, Madueke and Saka. Um, Gary, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, Reddy has said here Liverpool and City would have destroyed United today by putting 3 or 4 past them, but they've got established goal scorers in their team now with Haaland, Salah, the likes of Gakpo, whereas Arsenal have been living off of Saka and Martinelli for the last few seasons, and we're trying to bet in a new striker, Gary.
Yeah, yeah, and this game typifies why we need maybe a player like an Eze. You see Eze today,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah, he
that
was
could have
good.
been he could have been wearing a white shirt today, and we probably would have seen something a little bit different. So, yeah, I think as a team everything was off, and so it's hard to give one player a a call out as far as not playing well because everything was bad. And I yeah, when Saka did get the ball, he looked promising there, but I don't think he got enough touches in this game for me to feel like we were going to get something out of it, or he's going to do anything with it. So yeah, I mean, this game calls out for we still need to bring in another player or two. That's what this game showed. I mean, tell me what I mean, what stands out and probably stood out for a while is Martin Erdegaard. Like, what did he do today? Like, you know,
Hmm.
he had a
We need more.
injury-free off season, right?
Yeah,
There's things they need to work on based on the way he's been playing. And today, not good. I mean, he's got two players off to his left and his right, and he dribbles into a double team right on the 18, and you're like, oof, like what's up with that? That's not, that's Arteta got him. If Arteta's setting us up, he's put him in a good position where he gets to run at the defenders and maybe make a good pass, but he just dribbled right into a double team and they just took the ball off of him. You're like, we've seen that. We saw that too many times today, not only from Erdegaard, but from Martinelli as well. So we'll take. I always say I'll take performance over result. The result we got today, we're gonna take it, and deem it as some luck, I think. But performance wise, not no, we need to. There's lots of things we need to work on, and we'll take it as the first game of the season. But yeah, no, there's a lot. There's a lot we got to work on. There's a lot
Yeah.
we got to work on. Can't stress that enough. Maybe we'll get a little bit more freedom next week when we play at home against the Leeds team that's just coming up. Yeah, but then somebody will tell me that we play Leeds will play us tough, and then it's like we're back to the square, we're back to the drawing board again. Like all 38
No.
games, there's not one of them we're going to play where that team doesn't have something they can give us in terms of a good game, right? We're never going to be able to. When do we run away from teams because we're that much better? You know, we are that much better than most of the teams in the league. So I expect us to come out in certain games and it not be a tough one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So at some point, either we don't have the right players or we don't have the right scheme, or we don't have the right players playing together or the right
Well,
formation, whatever it is. Something's got to change, right?
we only play what 19. There's 19. Yeah, we only play 19 games away from home, and this is one out of 19 with a win. Now we switch around next weekend where we're gonna welcome Leeds. The likes of Liverpool Liverpool has to go to Newcastle, which will be the big game of the weekend next weekend. And so Arsenal will play before Liverpool. We'll have the opportunity to go 3 points clear of them, with them having to go to Tyneside and get a result as well. Man City also will go. Yes,
You mentioned about players, having to settle in, and you also mentioned Liverpool. But if you look at Liverpool, they're working with a new striker, and he got a goal and an assist. They found a way. They found a way in pre-season. We've all had the same preparation time. They found a way to start already working with that new addition.
Well,
and then you also look at a player like Martin Odegaard, who's supposed to be settled in the league, and then you compare his performance to someone who's just come into the league at Man City with Reinders. I don't know if you saw the Man City game and you saw Reinders' performance. He had a great performance.
I heard he played well. And
yeah, very good performance.
Turkey was the other one. We know what Haaland's going to give us.
Yeah.
Right. But the other thing, I mean, we can mention names, right? Florian Wirtz come from the Bundesliga. He didn't have a great game, but of course he had other players in that team around him, Ekitike, Salah, Gakpo, who made up for the deficiencies and the gaps in it. So if we're going to look at, across the board, Martinelli, Saka, and Gyökeres were not brilliant today as a combination, as a front three. I take that on board, absolutely, 100%. And what's probably good is that we go away from this game and understand we didn't play well, and we have to improve. We have Leeds coming in next weekend, and we have a chance again, Gary. We have a chance to go at it again, improve some things, and get the win against Leeds.
Oh yeah. It could be a nice game to have to kind of get a little bit more confidence up playing Leeds, and it should. And
And Tom has promised me personally, 6 points for Arsenal this season. So
there you go. You got he aims to please, right? So
we didn't talk about any cup competitions, but if we face
you don't get points for those. You don't get points for those. So it's who cares if we played him in the cup?
Alonso, as Stan said, Alonso, it looks like the substitutions didn't make sense, but maybe from the point of view of a fitness, it made some sense. It looked like a warm day. So Timber and Miles Lewis-Skelly came on because the fullbacks had a lot to do today defending.
Yeah, I think Ben White in particular. I believe he went to the ground. I don't know if he was an injury or he was just really exhausted. So it kind of makes sense to have Miles Lewis-Skelly and Timber come on for both Calafiori and Ben White, but it seems like Calafiori he seemed like Zinchenko, where he was everywhere on the pitch. He was even on the right side at some point of the match. So, he had a lot to do today, as well as Ben White. But I think Ben White played great today. I thought Calafiori scored a goal, of course, obviously scored a goal, but playing out of position most of the game really kind of makes me nervous. Um, moving defensively. So that being said, I think you got to get Mediweke a chance to do something. I think give him some games off the bench, because he played in that Club World Cup, and so he obviously needs some rest. And I think Havertz still wants to start, so I think this is kind of a test for him. Um, and I guess Mourinho kind of was going to substitute Rice, but I'm okay with it. I guess just because you had to make substitutes because, like you said, Ray, it looked like a hot day at Manchester United. Um, but hopefully the substitutions will be more useful moving forward. Like I said, I think this is the first game, and I hope that things get rectified before things get worse. But I'm not going to worry about it because we got the win today. Obviously, just things need to be worked on. But I would not be surprised if Mediweke starts on the left next week because Martinelli clearly doesn't show much. He didn't do much this game, so I think Mediweke could start against Leeds.
Yeah.
Can I just say as well, I don't understand why we keep saying it was a hot day, as opposed to what? I mean, what would it have been better for us?
Conditioning.
Well, it was a hot day, right? I mean,
we go to Dubai, don't we, and do hot weather training, so it should have been ideal for us. We do all this hot training stuff, we go to Dubai.
Yeah.
I just don't see how the weather should play any part in the performance at all.
I think it plays a part in the conditioning of the players right now at this point in the season. Nobody's hitting the start of the season 100%, Stan.
No, I'm not buying it. That's an excuse. I'm just not buying that. Everyone else was playing in the same weather. Manchester United were playing in the same weather, and they look better than us.
Yeah, they're the home team as well, though. You would expect the home team to.
When are we better than everybody else we play except for Liverpool? When do we get that? Please tell me. When are we ever better than everybody else we play in the league besides Liverpool? And maybe City.
I think we win a lot of games, 17th. Gary.
This team finished 17th, was it? Or 15th, whatever it was? And you're telling me they've already caught up to us?
All I'm saying is in terms of where they are in their preseason, you can explain the substitutions by the fullbacks having a lot of work to do today and Mourinho needing some more work, some fitness as well. Declan Rice, we've complained because Declan Rice has played every minute of every season.
The man had a whole summer off. When is he not recovered from that yet?
What?
He had the whole summer off. He didn't play in the summer. The reason why we said that last year is because he played all the way up to a final. He didn't play all summer. Saka didn't play all summer. Martin Odegaard did not play all summer.
I know, but we're supposed to manage. You're supposed to manage the minutes from the start of the season as well. You don't just start managing the minutes halfway through the season. You don't expect them to be able to play 90
minutes to start off a season? Is that what you're trying to tell me? No player can play 90 minutes?
No, half the team has to play 90 minutes.
90 minutes. Saka is coming off a detached hamstring.
I agree.
So you know what? He did it. So you can't tell me then that Rice, who didn't have any injuries last season, can't do it. Yeah.
No, but you have players. You have players on the bench.
Came off an injury as well, and you know what? He played 90. Should he? I don't think he should have played 45.
All right. Are you happy with the amount of substitutions that were made today? There was 5 substitutions.
We needed to make 5. I don't think those were the 5 I would have made.
All right. You would have brought one area in probably.
Yeah.
And Trossard.
We didn't have Trossard on the bench, so that wasn't going to work.
He was on the bench.
He was on the bench?
Yeah.
So I have my subs all mixed up here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, unless Rice had, it looked like he had some injury and that's why he came off, but I wouldn't have brought on Moreno. I wouldn't have subbed off Eucharist unless you're telling me he can't go 90. All right? Like we're trying to hold on to a lead here We're gonna take off our striker. Uh, you know what?
Yeah, but
You know what? Um, Martinelli should have come off a lot sooner, right?
okay.
Madueke should have probably come on at
That's 60
halftime,
minutes. That's not
right?
bad. 60 minutes
Yeah,
substitution.
yeah. But what
Martinelli.
did Martinelli do for you
Same
for the
old, same
60
old.
minutes? So nothing
Not much.
changed. Nothing changed in the first 30 minutes of the game. Nothing
Yeah.
changed at halftime. Nothing changed after 55 minutes.
Yeah.
But yet he
And then
continued to
60.
play, and then he
I
comes
think
out with
Alonso has a good shout that Madueke could come in for Martinelli next game. I
yeah,
think
no,
that's a
I
good
like
shout.
that idea, and also I think I don't know if Ben White's gonna. Some people also said Ben White might not start, and Timber might come in.
It does look to me like Ben White and Timber, they'll need to share minutes. They both look kind of tired during games. Maybe Ben White's always looked that way. Taking, taking this question, this comment here. D Dub Solutions Brothers Phase 7. Talk to me. What does this team need in the middle and out left to get Jokeres through? I'll answer creativity. Eze, what did Locke say in the car? Give me assists. Yeah, yeah. I could think of at least 3 other players that we could sign easily. Stan, Eze, Rodrigo Eze, Gary Eze, Semenyo. There's another good
You got
player.
Lookman if you want to bring in a left wing, right? You can bring in Lookman. Lookman hasn't signed anywhere as of yet. I mean, got Leal you can bring in.
Surely we do something.
Yeah.
Don't call me Shirley, but surely we do something on that left wing stand. Surely, Stan, we do something on that left wing and bring a player in.
Why haven't we done it already? Is it because they're waiting for more revenue from sales? I mean, surely you'd want to get everybody in as quickly as possible so that you don't have any excuses about players not being up to speed yet and, pre-season and not getting to know the players. So if you're going to bring them in, we should have already been on that. I get it if you're trying to do something with the Rodrigo because there's so much money at stake, wages wise, and maybe the longer you leave it, you might get a better deal. Or they're even talking about, perhaps a loan deal with options to buy or what have you. So I can get it with a marquee player like a Rodrigo, but somebody like an S8, if you believe that he is going to be able to make you better in the middle of the park, then you just pay the release clause instead of messing around with it,
Yeah.
So how much do you want that player? And if you believe that the release clause is too high, then you should have a backup person that you want to buy ready to go in place and get that person in quickly. But it looks like we're kind of like dragging our heels a little bit.
Maybe some of the pieces have to fall, right? Maybe Rodrigo's going to go to Manchester City, and that could be a possibility. And maybe we have to wait for those pieces to fall before you get a big piece like a Rodrigo from Real Madrid, who might be, what do you call that, surplus to requirements?
Why can't we be looking? Why can't we?
Rodrigo at Real Madrid.
Rodrigo's surplus to requirements
at Madrid.
At Madrid. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if they're looking at Man City to bring in Rodrigo and somebody like Savinho is going to make way for him, why is he talking to Tottenham and not us? Again, we should be looking at all of the options. And, as we saw with Berta during the window, he likes to speak to every player that plays football and make sure that if they want to sign for Arsenal, they're happy with the personal terms. So why aren't we looking there as well? Plus as well, Mikel Arteta loves getting a player for Man City. Grealish, for example, if Grealish can go to Everton on a season loan, he could have come to Arsenal on a season loan. And, if we allow him to play freely and not sort of like give him a task to just hug the left-hand wing, he could be useful for us as well. So there are plenty of options around that could come in and help.
Yeah. And I hope Eze doesn't end up at Tottenham. That's one. We're crying, like you said, we're crying out for creativity, and sign Isaiah as soon as possible, says D Dubs. Martinelli has regressed under Arteta since 2022-23. He's gone downhill. Yeah.
But also, could I just say with the substitutions, I mentioned in the last show that we did on Thursday that I had a fear that we're going to get into games and when we need something a little bit creative, and Mikel Arteta looks at the bench and he sees somebody like, I know that he wasn't on the bench today, but a Max Dowman and a Wanieri and a Mikel Mourinho, who's he going to pick? He would always go to the more established player, the one that's an international, the one that's making a name for himself internationally with Spain, Mourinho. But he's not necessarily the style of player that you want to bring into the game at that moment. But he'll go with that ahead of someone who's a little bit younger, on lower wages, but has a better profile for more creativity. Because personally, I would have made sure that somehow when Yeri was coming onto the pitch, he could have come on for Saka, or he could have come on for somebody else in the middle of the park. You could have taken off Zubimendi, who was a passenger in a lot of that game, and moved Declan Rice back.
I think he stays. Zubimendi is that control aspect of the game, but we were.
He wasn't doing it today, though.
No, he wasn't doing too much of it today. And again, it says to be progressive or pragmatic here in the headline and the banner. Mikel Arteta is yet to prove that he would go for in one area over Mikel Mourinho when they're both sitting on the bench side by side. And that's something that Arteta's got to think more offensively about and be attack minded about it,
And look at Dalman. Everyone's waxing lyrical about him. He's playing so many minutes in pre-season. I don't know if he's injured today. I've not heard anything, but he's not even on the bench. He's not even on the bench as an option for 70 minutes or to come on at the 70th minute or something like that. He's not even there. So I mean, he needs to be able to. What's the point of having this kid and playing him so much in pre-season and giving him a lot of opportunities when we come to the real games now? He's not even on the bench.
Yeah, he doesn't need to take a train ride to Manchester, you know what I mean, to get any more experience. I mean, he already went on an international tour with them, right? I think he's all right. I don't think he doesn't need that experience anymore. He just needs football. I mean, I think he was out because of school was done, so they were giving him his break. So maybe he wasn't going to be able to play anyways because he had just been out for his break.
So we won't see him in September, October, November. Is what we were saying.
I'm just telling you why he was out, prior to this first game. So I would play him, or else if you're not going to play him, then he needs to either go out on loan or he needs to, go back to the U21. So that's only way I see that working out, right? I think we need to do one of the two. If we're going to bring him in there, if we're not going to get Eze and you're going to keep Nweri in the team, then Dalman stays in the team. Now you've got two players to cover, for what would be an Eze, right? Don't cost you much, right? But they have I think they have a skill set to help you there, right? We know that. So that's kind of they got to make a decision, a tough one, but they got to make a decision. If they're not going to get Eze and Dalman is going to, be part of the first team, then he's got to be part of the first team. If you looked at the bench today, who's sitting? Like right now, the person that's sitting, the two people on the bench, I think if I was looking at that correctly, on the bench, you got a Moreno. Would he play if we had a full squad? All right. Would Trossard be around? All right. If you had Eze, Trossard's probably not on the he's not on the bench at all. And then
if we bring in a left wing,
Nweri and Dalman, who are they taking off? Moreno? One of them still got to sit.
I actually think, Gary, if we had Eze, it would be Wanieri that probably wouldn't be on the bench because of the profile again.
Yeah. So Dalman probably and a lot of people want it. Dalman gets the nod ahead of Nweri in a lot of people's eyes. And one of the things somebody brought up is maybe Nweri goes out on loan. They signed him because he's going to be part of their future, but that future might not be today. He might need that Saliba treatment. Give him 2 years of proper football where he gets to play and start. Right, a year or two like Saliba did. Right, Saliba came back ready to go. And Wary right now is fighting for a spot, fighting for minutes, and maybe he just needs to get minutes.
Well, he forced his way into the team through the Carabao Cup last season, and he's
Yeah.
increased his profile through all of the competitions. He's scored important goals. Champions League, Premier League. We didn't get a run in the FA Cup, but he can do that as well.
Yeah.
He's
I'm
if you're
just saying he
good,
didn't get any minutes today.
you're good
And
enough. You're old enough.
we needed a goal
Yeah.
to see out this game. Defensively, I think when we bring on Timber and Skelly, you're talking about closing it out defensively, but attacking wise, is Moreno going to help you do that? All right.
Listen, this is the striker from last season, Marino. So
Yeah, but we're
Moreno.
talking about in the midfield. He's not a midfield player for us. Like you just said it, he's a striker for us. He's our third striker.
He
We're
was
not bringing him
pressed
on. We're not
into
bringing him
that.
on for midfield.
He
No,
is a
but you
midfielder.
brought up striker, and that's actually legit. He is our third striker.
If you can
Why
give
is
me a midfielder who can pop up with some goals, I'm gonna take
Oh,
that
you mean like in
all
Wary
day
or
long.
Dowman? Is that what you mean? A player like that? Is that what you're talking about? A
Like
player that can legitimately get
a Michael
goals.
Thomas from the years gone by, like
Yeah,
a
Moreno, you
David
compare Moreno
Rocastle.
to Michael Thomas as opposed to in Wary and Dowman to Michael Thomas. Which one are you taking? Tell me, which of the three players are you taking? You're talking about giving me goals based on their talent
And
and their
worry,
skill set.
and worry.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like he's not. You're not. If Moreno is our third striker, which I believe he is he a midfielder that needs to come on before any of our attacking options? Mm, I don't know. That's kind of
Well,
what I'm thinking.
this is the thing that Mikel's got to overcome is that like for likeness. You know, Declan Rice comes off. He's gonna say, Mikel Marino, you are
What
the
was
de
Norgard
facto.
for? Why is it Norgard on the bench?
He's hurt.
He's hurt.
I
Nordgaard got
mean,
hurt.
there's a
I
reason.
didn't hear that.
In
Yeah, I
training.
mean he over Trot. You would think Norgard would be there over Trossard, or again Moneri, Marino. Who knows? There are some things. Stan, there are some things as we go through the season we're gonna understand Mikel's 2025, 2026
Mm.
mentality when it comes to the squad.
Yeah, and we'll probably get to a better understanding of the actual pecking order when it comes to outside of the first 11. What is the actual pecking order?
Like, who is he going to pick for a Carabao Cup game? Who's he going to pick for an FA Cup game? Who's going to pick for the first Champions League game when we get into the Champions League group stages? You know,
Yeah, I agree.
these are all
Well,
things that to be decided, to be
it should be
determined.
it should be something like an Inweri or a Dowman, right? Right.
I think.
That's right. But
Yeah,
they need to play minutes before we get there.
yeah. So like, you're asking for a Dowman. I don't know if he's going to make the team as a 15-year-old this season. One
Is he,
area for
is
sure.
he 16?
Why can't he make the
16,
team?
even if
Why-
he's 16.
No, he can make the team as a 15-year-old. He just can't play in the Champions League until
How many minutes? How
playoffs.
many games or how many minutes would you get? Would he play this season? You know, that these are the questions.
Anyway,
Like,
from 500 to 1,000 minutes.
remains to be seen what
I mean,
happens. With.
you ask me questions, I give you answers. He can play those minutes. I mean, today we could have brought on Inweri and given him 15 to 30 minutes today.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
We could have done that. I don't think Norgard was injured, but I think he just was a scratch. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be situations where, and this is what we want. We wanted this when we have a squad of 25 players, where it's going to be difficult to leave some players out of the squad altogether. You know, injuries are going to happen through the season. There's going to be niggles here and there, but so somebody like Norgard might not make the 19,
Yeah.
as it were. Michael said would be better in the 6 and Zubimendi in the 8. See, now you're mixing things up here. Rice in the 6. I don't think Mikel Arteta ever sees Rice in the 6 when Zubimendi's going to be available
Yeah.
to play, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so
It does say here Norgard didn't practice at all this week. So there you go. That's why
I
he was out.
listen, and that's probably a good thing in the squad. If you have a player who has a slight issue, he may not even be available for the squad, for the match day squad. So you leave him out, let him recuperate on the table, on the medical table, and come back fit. Last season, we know what it was all about. Last season, with injuries after injuries after injuries, and the bare bones of the team had to carry the whole club through the season. Under the circumstances, did quite well last season doing that. You know, Rice in the 6, but listen, I think unless we got some more things to bring to the table, like if you want to, we should start rounding this thing down. I want to do a shorter show today, but 1-0 to the Arsenal. We won more than one goal. We won Gyökeres, Martinelli, Saka combining for fun, right? For goals. But we had to rely on the back four and the goalkeeper. Stan has put David Raya forward as his man in the match, unless you want to add to that with any other nominations, Stan. Um, I thought Saliba had a good game as well.
Yeah, but I'm gonna stick with my man of the match, being I think David Raya made some important saves today. That on another day could have seen those balls going into the back of the net and taken 2 points away from us.
And I think our defenders limited the likes of Mbeumo, to taking it wide on his right foot and taking shots that Raya could deal with quite easily. I don't think Manchester United got through for any clean cut chances on our goal.
They got double the amount of shots on target than we did.
Yes. Yes.
22.
Now,
22.
They hit the post on one of their shots. So I like I said, I don't know what you saw, but I saw them getting more opportunities to score than we did.
Yes.
We were lucky that they weren't as clinical as they could have been in the game.
And we were able to take the one chance that did come our way. Alonso, who's your man in the match? I thought. Listen, I know Stan said Zubimendi was maybe a non-factor, but I thought Zubimendi was neat and tidy on the ball as well. One thing I didn't like about Zubimendi is that he's dropping back between our two central defenders. If we lose the ball in that area, it could be dangerous. If we have Gabriel and Saliba too wide and Zubimendi exposed as a third defender almost. But Alonso, what were your thoughts on your man in the match?
I want to give it to Gabriel Magalhaes. I think that he had a good game. I think he made some important blocks. I think the way he led the line was pretty impressive as well. Because they're attacking pretty much the second half. And I think that his communication with Saliba, I think ever since Saliba been on the team, I think they make each other better. And Raya had a good game as well. He had a great game. Made some important saves. But I think the blocks for me from Gabriel, both Gabriel and Saliba, made the back line formidable. As well as Manchester United also missed some shots as well. They sent some as well. So to me, it's Gabriel Magalhaes.
Yeah, good chance. I mean, the likes of Saka, Gyökeres, or Martinelli are not going to get man of the matches in this vote. And won the first clean sheet of the season for David Raya. So, Gary, what are your thoughts on man of the match?
Yeah, no, I think a lot of players didn't stand out too well for me, but the one that, even though he didn't have a good game, he did make some timely saves, and that was definitely Raya. I think that one shot across the front of the goal, he gets a finger on it, tips it wide. Um, I think I think he had more positives than negatives based on what I saw compared to some of the other players who didn't really have much of a good game. I think I felt Saliba struggled today. I think Gabriel's just not there yet. So and that's fine because he's coming back from injury. So I'm not expecting him to be ready to go fully fit. I don't think I'm expecting him to be fully fit at this point in his recovery. So I think Raya did a good job, but I think like everybody else, they all had their negatives that they can work on.
Yeah.
But he definitely, he kept he held I believe he kept us from dropping 2 points once again from a leading position
Yeah.
more than the back line did
And that
today.
was, yeah, that was definitely the worry that we would concede a goal through a penalty or just Manchester United scoring a goal. Zubamendi's not a McAllister. Michael said they're different players. Zubamendi's got his qualities. I can't see him, but we'll see. Um,
Zubamendi can replace a Rodrigo, Ken McAllister. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
he replaced Rodrigo and helped his country win a Euros. So I kind of felt like there is a talent there, and I don't know. I like
Yeah.
Zubamendi more than I do McAllister. So
Yeah,
take his,
McAllister's just. I mean, every team you should have one of these teams that other fans don't like. You should have some of these players in the team that other fans don't like, and McAllister's one of those. The game changed when Miles Lewis Skelly and Timber came on. I just want to say, and I don't know if you've got to say anything about this. Miles Lewis Skelly is still a little bit erratic sometimes, and he does take the fight to the rival team, but in a way that he's going to collect some more cards this season and be in trouble this season. So that either has to be managed by the manager changing, making timely substitutions, or the coaches have to talk to Miles Lewis Skelly about being a little bit more circumspect in these situations. Does any one of you have anything to say about Miles Lewis Skelly in that regard, or?
I think he was just trying too hard in the preseason, and you know what? Maybe, I mean, it sounded as if he was going to be moving to the midfield anyways, right? And Calafiori getting the starts at the end of the season and the start today might be a little transition as far as where he actually will be playing. So yeah, no, I mean he's more of a midfielder anyways, and if you're going to say eventually he'll be always in the midfield, then that's where he's best anyways. Some people have said we needed to get that left back. You needed to get another defender, a legit left back to bring
Mm-hmm.
in. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, he had a really good season last year, but I think now, as people said, he got sussed out, and they figured out how to play him, and it's a lot more pressure the second go around. So,
Yeah.
but I think he's a good player, but I think he's more of a midfielder, and that's probably I think where he'll end up anyways.
And Saka is going to get his goals, going to get his assists as well, but Saka has become very predictable as well. We need more from Gyökeres, Martinelli on the left side, and Odegaard as well to provide offensive threat to take away from Saka. Defenders, we talked about this Thursday night, defenders honing in on just that right side. So we're going to get out of here in a couple of minutes. Thank you, all three of you, for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Michael said Madueke and Miles Lewis Skelly improved the left, coming in for Calafiori and Martinelli. And we do need to find somebody on the left wing who's going to improve us moving forward this season. There is 2 weeks left in the window. And yes, you would ideally like all of your players to be in-house by now, but we have brought 6 or 7 players in as well this season, so it's going to take some time. I know other teams have brought in team players as well. Timber is a starter ahead of White. That's definitely, I mean, when you have competition, that's a good thing. When you have even fans debating whether Timber's better than White or White's better than Timber, that can only be a good thing for your team as well. Calafiori's like a rude hullet. I think the game was tricky. It was definitely a tricky opening game of the season away from home. Um, and, it's not easy to win away from home in the Premier League. But there, we leave it there. Much improvement for next weekend against Leeds. And we hope we see a much improved performance next week. And more than just one goal, Alonso.
Yeah, I hope that Arteta works better with the players. Of course, it's on the players as well. Not to be so scared to shoot or not be too afraid to do something inside the box. I think Martinelli should be mindful of what's going to go on with him if he doesn't do anything. Um, I think like Rudy said that he hasn't progressed much since 2022-23 season. And you would think that they would have done something by now to make a change. But hopefully they'll be up for it, knowing that they got their first game out the way. Hopefully Vivendi and the midfield can play better with each other. I'm not too worried about the back four. But yeah, I think the attack is a concern. Hopefully they'll fix it in training, and look forward to watching them against Leeds.
Yeah, and we hope Gyökeres can get up to speed and running as well. Stan or Gary, anything else to add?
I'll just say good to get 3 points on the board, but I want us to be more convincing in our wins. Send a message out, make other teams worry about having to face us.
Yeah, let's just say in two weekends from now, we'll have played Liverpool at Anfield, and we need a much bigger and better display at Anfield 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I'll just say this: you just got to feed the man. He said the one thing he wants from Erdogan is assists. Anybody see much of that today from Erdogan? Because the big man asked for assists today, and I don't know if he got any opportunities to get assists for Erdogan today, and that's what he asked for. So,
it can come from many areas. It can come from Saka, Martinelli.
Erdogan asked him, "I'll do whatever you need," and the man said, "I want assists." So he was directing it directly at the captain. When the captain asked him and said, "I'm glad you're with us. Tell me if you need anything, let me know."
Okay.
And the man said, "I want assists. All right, I want to get us, and the only way he's going to get assists is if he puts the ball into Gyökeres's feet, so he can put a foot through it." So yeah, no, I'm not like this isn't Gyökeres's problem. This is Erdogan's problem because he said he would do it. He said, "I'll do anything you want."
Okay. Fair enough. We'll leave it there. Thanks, all three of you, for joining today. It's been a tough fought 3 points at Old Trafford, but we go away with 3 points. Thanks, Dan, Gary, Lonzo. I will see you all on Thursday for the next one. Thanks. Take care, everybody. No music on the outro.